Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us again this morning. It is another exciting session of our NGO Organizational Effectiveness Workshop. And we're super excited to have you all join us from our various American spaces and individuals on the call this morning. My name again is Stephanie Adesanya. I'm the director here at the American Corner Ikeja, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all this morning. So before we start, I don't know if anyone or a group of people are willing to share how you intend to use the knowledge you've gotten so far from the sessions to improve your program development approach. And so I know our speaker has shared a lot over the course of the last 3 sessions. And so if anyone has, something they want to share, we had this exercise we were doing on the group and we didn't get a lot of response. So I'd like to hear from people in the different spaces or, individuals on the call. You can put it in the chat too, and we'll be happy to read it out. Please share, how this would improve your program development approach going forward. So this is our last session. Unfortunately, yes, we've been learning so much about program development. How do you intend to use this going forward? What are the plans or changes you intend to make in your NGO to better plan programs that are effective in your communities? And so I look forward to hearing your feedback. As you know, our speaker is very engaging. He loves to hear your takes. He loves to hear your, all you have to share with other people. And, these are very important information that people can also use to develop their NGOs. And so with that, we don't have anyone yet. I hope we'll get to it eventually. And so just put it in the chat as we're going on. If you have ideas you want to share, please put in the chat. If you want to speak, please raise your hand and I'll unmute you to share. But in the absence of nothing yet, I'd like to invite our wonderful speaker, Chibuzo Agomo, to please take the floor and begin the session. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Ms. Adesanya, for having me, and thank you everyone for joining today's session. Today happens to be the last of the series we've had for about 2 weeks now. So with that noise, the gate closes. So today we'll be looking at Unit 7 and Unit 8 of program development. I know we've had interesting moments. Today being the end of the entire session, we're going to really have to talk and discuss on how we can use the entire elements of what we have looked through in the last sessions to improve our work at our organization. So I'm going to try to make sure that there is ample amount of time left for that review session. So today we're going to be looking at program implementation. So you've done your baseline survey, you've done your needs assessment, which is the first, and all the necessary things, the mission, the objectives, the goals, source of funding, you've settled that, and every other thing, program design. Now is the implementation. And this is the critical part of the program. So we're going to move to the next slide as we see the purpose and objectives of today's session. So the purpose here, it states that this unit explains the procedures for carrying out program tasks. Key factors to consider in program implementation include the role of the media, recruiting volunteers, implementing sound management practices, supervising staff. Sorry, let me pick up my earpod. All right. So, supervising staff and volunteers, establishing accountability mechanisms, and developing collaboration. These are the things we're going to be looking at in today's session. And then the learning objective. The things we want you to take away from today's session is the importance of program implementation and We'll be outlining an implementation plan for a program. And then again, we also want you to be able to identify the elements of program design that ensures successful implementation of program activity and explain why they are important. So we go to the next slide. So we begin with implementation. Okay, I'm going to read the slide first before I begin explaining, so I do not repeat what is already on the slide. So it says, for the program implementation, you must develop procedures for carrying out tasks. By now, you should have determined the goals, objectives, and activities that the organization will be implementing. You also should have identified and acquired the necessary resources, and your leadership structure should be in place. While it is impossible to ensure that nothing will go wrong, you should have a reasonable amount of assurance that everything will operate well. However, you should be prepared for unforeseen flaws. Please, I want you to take note of that. Because one thing is, no matter how you prepare, you are definitely going to discover that there is one loophole or another. And then this part of the lesson is so important because it's going to help us with identifying our flaws and trying to improve upon the areas we didn't do well, so that when next we are implementing such a project, we do not make the same mistake. So I really want you to take note of that part I read. So, prepare for unforeseen flaws and for flukes to occur. Therefore, planning must also include the development of procedures that ensure the success of your activity when the unexpected occurs. So this is where you apply the element of adaptability, because things will not always go as planned. There will be disappointments here and there. No matter how you have drafted your plan, you've drafted all the necessary things that need to be considered, there definitely will be something that would raise ugly hair to stare you in the face. So adaptability as a skill is something to employ in this moment. So once you have secured community and financial support, delegate tasks to ensure the program's successful initiation and establish a viable structure for its continued operation. So this is where you look at sustainability. In today's unit, as we talk about project implementation, we would also look at sustainability. Sustainability comes about when you have been able to discover the loopholes. I talked about, I think in the last class or the upper one, I talked about the bright spots and the landmines. There are always bright spots. Your strength, the opportunities that abound in ensuring that program becomes a success. Things that serve as an advantage to the successful implementation of the program. Those are what you call the bright spots. Then the landmines are the loopholes, those things that stand as a threat to the survival or the efficacy of that program. So this is why this unit is very important, because this helps you establish sustainability so that moving forward, you can keep that program alive and also replicate the results of that program in different places, even though they may have different factors, because different communities don't share the exact same problem. It's nuanced. So, but the template will really, really help you with what you are able to develop from your program. So we'll check out the next slide. So now in program implementation, you are hitting the wheel running, and it begins with conducting a media campaign. A media campaign. Why is a media campaign important? It is important because members of the community you are providing this solution for should be aware that this is what you are doing in their community. They should be aware that this is the intervention that is being brought in their community and they are beneficiaries. Because if they are unaware, then you are not going to reach a lot of people. These aspects of intervention is so important. So I'm going to read the slide. It says the media are a vast and powerful sector of industry that includes television, radio, newspaper, magazine, other mass circulation print vehicles, and outdoor advertising for the HIV/AIDS prevention public. Now, I told us that we're using HIV/AIDS prevention because we're using it as an example of a program. Information outreach can include weekly shoppers magazine, newsletters, business publications, periodicals distributed by organizations, newsletters from major employers, school/college newspapers, and closed circuit television. It is important that you establish a good working relationship with the media in your community, as this is a very effective way of reaching a large audience. We recommend the following points. Number one, develop a media contact list. So I'm going to talk a bit here. The media is very powerful. I don't know if you have done any short course on public relations, crisis communication, yeah, if you've done anything like that, you will discover the power the media wields. The media wields so much power, and you can't take them for granted. Whether you're running a business, whether you are in entertainment, whether you're in the NGO sector, you need the media. They are very powerful, and the media could, amplify your work in astronomical ways, or they could destroy your work in a way that you never thought possible. So building a healthy relationship with the media in your community is very important. And I'm going to spend some time to talk about this because I have seen situations where people go into a community to implement a program, and the skepticism of a particular group of persons in that community is echoed, and people begin to say things like, oh, these people have ulterior motives. They are coming here to do XYZ. They're coming here to do this, they're coming here to do that. And this filters into the media. And before you know it, that story is peddled around. And when we talk about the media, it's not just television or radio, social media. And it's even more dangerous now because social media is accessible to everyone and anyone can use it. If you have a platform and you have large followings, you can post whatever it is you want to post. So this is not me like veering off. I just want to like say something. So there is a particular Instagram page. I don't want to mention the name. There's an Instagram page that is known for cussing, ruckus, and violence. You understand? And it's a faceless person handling this social media handle. So you can imagine if someone wants to be really mean to you, let's say you're going to a community to provide intervention for children, and someone allows their skepticism have a better part of them, and then they begin to say things like, oh, this the medicine they are administering to the children is making them sick. In fact, it will make the children impotent. It will make them sterile. It will do this, do that. And then they bring shabby stories to support their claim. And then before you know it, they push it to, let's say, a media platform like this, a social media platform like this. And maybe these people already have sinister intentions about you and your organization. And they have ulterior motives. They want to pull you down. And they broadcast this. Boom. That's something really dangerous. So the tool you can use to dispel such negative rumor about your organization is the media, because the media will help people have faith in what you're doing. And this is why, if you notice, CNN, BBC, all these large organizations and conglomerates, when, let's say, there is a news about a particular celebrity or a particular organization, you would always hear shortly afterwards, spokesperson of this organization, or maybe a media person in so and so organization holds an interview with the founder or with the person involved. And there is a maybe 60 minutes interview or 30 minutes interview, sit down interview, where the person is able to explain all that is going on. And that is done within, a short frame of time. And before you know it, that information is being swept up and the trust of the people is being built back. So, as someone in the civil society space, you so much need to build relationship with people in the media, radio, television, and any influential media outlet in your community. It's so important to help amplify your work. And at the same time, if there is, because when we talk about loopholes, this is one of it. If there is maybe false information that is being filtered out into the community, these media outlets will help clear that out and help bring people into the right perspective. So develop a media contact list. Have it, have it in your phone, have it on your notes, very important. Establish a relationship with the media. Concentrate on those media outlets your target population is most likely to see, hear, or read. So focus on the media outlets that are relevant to that community. So if you notice that that community loves listening to radio, then you have to use radio should be number one. If you know that they love watching the local TV station, you have to use the local TV station. Maybe they like reading the local newspaper. Use the local newspaper. Maybe they like using town criers. You use town criers to pass your message. So you'd really need to leverage on the media. It's so important. Use it for your campaign. Use it for your campaign. So we go to the next slide. So another very important part of program implementation is supervision of staff and volunteers. You must always provide supervision to ensure implementation of all services. A good supervisor, this is what a good supervisor is known for. A good supervisor listens to employee concerns, complaints, and suggestions. This is where active listening comes to play. You have to pay attention to the foot soldiers. You have to pay attention to the people that are making that program possible, because without them, there's nothing you can do. You have to really pay attention. That, in a way, builds motivation in them to want to continue with that program. If you do not handle them well, rest assured that there are other opportunities that they will jump on. So don't feel like, they are looking for jobs. There are, especially if they are very talented staff members, do not take them for granted. If they leave you, they will leave you. They will leave you alone. And you will struggle. There are certain organizations that have struggled so much after a particular set of staffers or volunteers left them, because those were very skilled volunteers. And they were now left to grapple with what they are left with. So please, it's important to listen and make sure that your employees and your volunteers feel a part of it. They feel that kindred spirit. There's camaraderie amongst them. It makes them feel that this is our thing. So the second part is a good supervisor communicates to employees using clear, concise, and consistent messaging. So messaging is very important here. You have to be very clear. And this was why I talked about the vision of the program. It has to be clearly stated, it has to be consistent. You have to keep reminding them of it. It's so crucial. Messaging here also is important because you need to know what tool of communication works best. How are you able to reach them easily? Is it via the WhatsApp group, WhatsApp chat, email, phone calls? Just make sure that you use the right tool of messaging to disseminate your message. And if you have a communications person who is like a bridge between you and them in situations where you cannot always interface with them, you also have to make sure that that feeling of value and acceptance is communicated through your communication personnel so that they can feel motivated and willing to go on with the program. The third um, the third quality of a good supervisor is that he or she respects employees and never belittle, talk, talk down, or berate or mistreat them. So that's something to watch out. I say this many times that human beings are smart enough to know when they are accepted and when they are treated with contempt. And so you have to be careful. This is why self awareness is very important as a supervisor. Self awareness is important because some of your actions could be interpreted as microaggression. You know, you could be passive aggressive, you know. So, this is why some people don't like certain people. Not because like they are bad people, but because these people are careless with they are careless with the way they relate with people. They are not really considering their tone. They are not really considering signaling. Signaling could be good, could be bad. There is how you approach people and you feel like you don't have respect for them. They can sense it that you don't have value for them. The only thing you care about is that the job is done. The job has to be done, yes. That's number one priority. But Theodore Roosevelt said, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So that's something you need to really, really consider. I'm not saying you have to be playing with them or jumping up around with them. Of course, there needs to be boundary and need to know that you are leader, and they must know that the mantle of authority rests on your shoulder. But at the same time, you must also treat them with dignity and respect, and not treat them as if they are less than just because you are the one giving guidance on the direction the project should go. So the fourth quality of a good supervisor is that he holds staff responsible for the work they do and the way they behave by providing adequate supervision to ensure implementation of all directives. So here, as a supervisor, you also need to be feisty at times. You need to be stern. Make sure the job is done. Hold them accountable. Hold them accountable. There's this African proverb that talks about parenting. You hit the child, if you smack the child, if the child he has done something wrong, and then you use the other hand to bring back the child, to comfort the child. So it's the same thing with leadership. When a staff member has done something wrong, they need to know that they've done something wrong, and they need to be aware, and they should take responsibility for it, and they should also express commitment to correcting their wrongs and making things go right. Yeah, so that's very, very important. We go to the next slide. Okay. Yeah. So another very important point, we've looked at using the media as a veritable tool. We've looked about good supervision of staff members and volunteers. Now we're looking at the emphasis for accountability. So accountability is a very important element, and these include financial accountability. You should have in place a mechanism to plan for troubleshooting and for resolving crises and disputes. So accountability here is There should be moments where you have meetings with the team. Let them know what has been done so far. Okay, in the first quarter, this is how much we spent on XYZ and blah, 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 blah. They have to know. I know that sometimes it's not every information the entire team needs to know. Yeah, sorry if your microphone is on. I would appreciate it if you turn it off. Thank you. Yes. So, I know that there are certain times certain information needs to be shared to the inner circle of the team. But whether you're sharing core, delicate, classified information to the inner circle or not, the team needs to know that you are accountable. They need to feel that sense of accountability, and they need to know that, oh, I think we're on the right track. There is no corruption is not creeping in, because when team members begin to see corrupt practices, that can be a problem for that project. And another thing they talked about in this part is you should have in place a mechanism to plan for troubleshooting. So what is troubleshooting? Troubleshooting is a type of problem solving where you look at the problem, maybe the problem as a whole, and you try to identify what exactly is the cause of this problem. It's like a doctor diagnosing an ailment from a patient. You are sick, but yeah, you are presenting with a lot of symptoms. So I want to know exactly what's the root cause. So in troubleshooting, you identify the root cause and you try to handle it, solve it, and ensure that it's now functioning effectively to support the overall efficiency of the entire system. You get what I mean? So this is what accountability does. Aside financial accountability, in the area of task, every person on the team needs to um, display that we are responsible. We are doing our job. We are coming to the table with our A game, and also you as supervisor that you are coming to the table with your A game. So this is very, very important. You also have to model accountability to the team. The fourth one here says foster collaboration. Foster collaboration. When I was talking about collaboration in our last class, I used an analogy. I said that the performance of an orchestra cannot be compared to the performance of a single instrument. Yeah. So that group work, that team play is so important. Accountability is a very important element, and these include financial accountability. Okay. I think there's a repeat here. Oh, sorry. So let me talk more on fostering collaboration. So in fostering collaboration here, you are looking at in one of the classes I talked about the culture of the team, the culture, and that culture includes communication, camaraderie, and in camaraderie, you are looking at your tone, your signaling, self-awareness. So all of these things are to be considered if you are to build a bond, if you are to build synergy amongst team members. It's your job as supervisor to make that happen. So we go to the next slide. So here is a very important part of implementation. Recruit, train, and support volunteers. Recruit, train, and support volunteers. And you must have it at the back of your mind that recruiting, training, and supporting volunteers it could be an ongoing thing. Now, here's why I say that. You could recruit people at the start of implementation for this 1-year program, 2-year program, 5-year program that you're working on. Along the line, someone might leave. Along the line, someone might, find employment somewhere else and step out. And the recruitment process continues again. So have that at the back of your mind. Good volunteers are hard to find. You should provide support for your volunteers to promote loyalty, dependability, and dedication. You should provide them with training, supplies, instructions, and other support needed to do the job well. See, if you don't provide your volunteers materials, you're going to have a problem because what do you expect them to work with? Let's say, for example, there is a unit, whether they are volunteers or staff members, and they need to do graphics design, Excel sheets, um, a number of things, and they don't have laptops, they don't have laptop computers, they don't have any device to help them do that. What do you expect them to do? Magic. So you have to provide those supplies and provide training. Training is so important because training not only equips your staff members with skill, it also equips them with confidence because confidence is an essential tool. If they don't feel confident, even the most brilliant person feels helpless if they don't have confidence. So training gives them a sense of direction, and provide instructions and support where needed. So support there is I talked about the coaching thing in when it comes to mediation in our last meeting, where different organizations are collaborating on a project. The importance of a coach is not only in that regard. It could also help with your team members because sometimes there's something they call lethargy. Team members might become lethargic in doing their job, and that could be as a result of being worn out, stressed, what have you. Your coach there helps to reinvigorate them, like re-motivate them, help them see the reason why they are so needed on this program and why their contribution to the program is essential and why they need to improve their input into the program. So that's one of the supports. Team members need this from time to time. And that is something that could be done in person or it could be done virtually. And so providing that help, moral support, especially at this time that people talk about mental health issues, mental health problems, people need that. People need that. I am, oh, sorry about the noise. I'm currently working on a book project. I also write. I'm working on a book project for someone who is based in the US, who talked about her experience in a toxic work environment. And at a particular time, she was contemplating suicide, And this happened because at this time, the workplace wasn't considering mental health as something really important to provide counselors or therapies to help. So that's one of the supports you could also provide because sometimes team members are weighed down with a lot of things that they need someone to talk to inspire them and motivate them to continue with their work so that they can do their job well. So people are most likely to volunteer if they know, number one, their specific duties. So assigned roles, very important, it has to be clearly stated. Number two, the amount of time they must commit to the effort. So people must know what is expected of them. That would help them deliver. If they don't know, if they are not informed, don't expect the best. Don't expect the best if they are not informed, of that. Number three, the location of the job. They have to know where this project is to be done. Number four, the project goals and objectives. You have to communicate that to them. Number five, the training requirements and commitment. The training requirements and commitment. So this is why communication is so important. They need to be that regular update. And this should be done even before implementation. It's important you set your team months ahead of the implementation and you begin communication. You begin communication on time. Because people tend to forget, especially when you have volunteers. You are not paying them. Remember, you're just giving them stipends. You're not paying them. So you really need to bring them in, rope them in into the program so that they buy in into the spirit of it, or else they will just leave and leave me with the job because they are like, I don't even know what this thing is about. So goals, objectives has to be communicated. The next one, the last one, the travel requirement. So if they are to travel, they have to know. You don't wake them up one day and say, I wake them up one day and say, hey, you are going to travel here. I have, I mean, let me use myself as an example. So let's say an organization wants me to implement a program for them. And you want me to take the fire brigade approach. I like using fire brigade approach, the word fire brigade, because let's say it's like the fire on the mountain, you want me to step in immediately. I can't do that. I have an itinerary. Unless you are lucky, I have free time. So let's use an example. The whole of September, if someone had jumped out and say, "Oh, I need you to do this for me in September," they are wasting their time. So I had already booked September right from the beginning of the year. So people have their their time and itinerary. You really need to they need to get this information on time so that they know how to plan and make their time flexible to accommodate you and your plan. So that's something to consider. Yeah. All right. So this is unit 7. We've talked about using the media as an effective tool. We've talked about um, recruiting and everything we need to talk about in that regard. I'm going to give room for, before we go to the last unit, I'm going to give room for us to share our experiences or your insight into what we've just talked about in Unit 7, program implementation. Have you at any time witnessed a program collapse because these factors were not considered? And then have you also witnessed a program blossom, bloom and become really successful because those implementing it considered these factors and it resulted in effective implementation? We would like to hear from you. I know that we have some experienced civil society professionals here. I would like you to share. I would like you to share your experience. I will really be glad. Thank you. You could indicate with the lift of hand emoji, and you'll be given the platform to share. I don't want to be talking alone. No. I also want to learn from you. I hope you're not shy. Don't mind me, you're not shy. Okay, maybe you're reserving your contribution and your questions for later. Okay, so we'll dive right into Unit 8. We'll dive to Unit 8, and Unit 8 is evaluation. It's the last unit of program development. It's been a wonderful time. So we're going to take our time to look at this unit and why it is relevant for your program development endeavor or journey. All right, so we check the next slide. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we look at the purpose of this unit, the last unit. This unit explains how to evaluate and assess programs. Evaluation is designed to verify, document, and quantify activities and their effort. So now, what this is about is to give us an understanding of gauging the work we've done so far and being able to decide whether or not we've done something substantial in solving the problem in that community that we intend to solve. So by the end of this unit, learners will be able to, number one, explain program evaluation, and describe how it is useful in making programmatic decisions about a program. Describe the purposes of conducting evaluation and explain how each purpose can impact a program. The third one, explain impact assessment and identify the areas where one would be likely to have an impact in an AIDS/HIV, that's HIV and AIDS, another sexually transmitted disease prevention program. Like I told you, HIV/AIDS is an example that we are using in this class. So this is the purpose, and we are going straight into evaluation. So we check out the next slide. Next slide, please. Thank you. Yes, so we're looking at conducting evaluation. Evaluations serve many purposes. The most common reason for program evaluation is what we're going to be looking at now. So conducting evaluation, we're going to be looking at project management, staying on track, project efficiency, project accountability, and others. But we'll start with project management. So this is why evaluation is important. Evaluation can provide program staff or administrators with information such as participant characteristics, program activities, and allocation of staff resources in program costs. So evaluation, usually people could use questionnaires to gather data. It's so important. It's so important because it helps you know what you are doing, and it helps you know where you are in the implementation stage of the program. So you are not just rambling and wasting your time. So it's very essential in that regard. And that's why the second one says staying on track. Evaluation can help to ensure that program activities continue to reflect program plans and goals. This type of evaluation can help strengthen service delivery and, and maintain the connection between program goals, objectives, and services. Staying on track is one of the reasons why evaluation is so important, or else you will just be doing something else and going to that joke that goes on social media where they say, if they carry me go where I don't know. So the program will not carry you go where you don't know. That's why evaluation is so important. You stay on track and you make sure the job is done. So the next one is project efficiency. So increased efficiency can enable a program to serve more people, offer more services, or target services to those whose needs are greater. Evaluation can help streamline service delivery or enhance coordination among various program components, lowering the cost of services. Yes, so this is really important because with evaluation, you can know what works and what doesn't work, what you are spending money on that is irrelevant. Because sometimes in implementing programs, you discover that there are certain things you're spending money on that is not needed in the first place. So this is one of the ways. It helps you manage resources and ensures that the project is efficient. So the fourth one is project accountability. So evaluation for accountability involves evaluation results from outside of program operation. The methods used in accountability evaluation must be scientifically defensible. So evaluation helps with accountability. How do you know how are you able to prove your accountability if there's no evaluation? So that's why having an evaluation unit is so important. We call them M&E. They are monitoring the program and they are evaluating it. It's a very important unit. You really need them because, if you don't have them, you can't appreciate the amount of work you've done. no one can appreciate the amount of work you've done if you do not have an evaluation team. It's like going to school and you're not evaluated. How will we appreciate, your learning endeavor? How will we appreciate it? You go year one, year two, year three, no evaluation. We can't tell whether you're doing well or not. So evaluation helps us to see, oh, these guys are doing incredibly well. Well done. You know. So that's really important. Include that in your program development plan. So we go to the next slide. So here we look at the evaluation process. What process does it take? Do you just start evaluating immediately? It takes a process. So the process follows the sequence 1, 2, 3, 4. So, for example, if you see on this diagram, 1 has this color that is, and maybe it's green, or I think, is it green? I think so. Women know a lot of colors. They can call it something else. Then there is this other color for 2, and then there is the blue, and then there is the yellow, which is the last one. So it follows that sequence. So the first one is, okay, so it says here, the evaluation process provides answers to critical questions that are crucial to the success of the program. So number one question that is critical to the success of the program is, it says, identify goals and desired outcomes. What were the primary goals of the project? What did you hope to accomplish? That's one of the questions. In fact, the topmost question in your evaluation sheet or what have you should have this question. What is the primary goal? And what were you hoping to accomplish? It has to be, you have to answer that, or your team members have to answer that. Then the next question, conduct process assessment. And questions to ask in that regard is, what did you do? What exactly did you do? So your goal was to make sure that 30% of women recorded increased improvement in health by the year December 2022. What did you do? The next question is, what did you do to accomplish that? So that's a question to answer, and that helps you really, really that proves whether or not you paid attention to the implementation structure, to the system you had developed for the implementation. The next one is you conduct an outcome assessment. Conduct an outcome assessment. And the questions to ask, because this is not just one question. There are a number of questions in this particular area, and they should lean towards this question. What were the immediate effects of the, of the program? What were the immediate effects? So the first one is, what were the primary goals? The next one is, what did you do? And then the next one is, what were the immediate effects? In the course of 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, what were the immediate effects of this intervention? Then the last one is, conduct an impact assessment. Conduct an impact assessment. So you see that in number 1, identify goals and desired outcomes. Then number 2, there is process assessment, which you need to conduct. Number 3, there is outcome assessment. There is process assessment. There is outcome assessment. There is impact assessment. I'd like you to take proper note of that. Process, outcome, impact. Process, outcome, impact. Because this is it. This is what proves. This is like the examination of the program. And this is where you are able to see for sure whether you deserve an A or a B or or a C or a D or an E or an F. This is where you get to prove that. So please take proper note of this, that evaluation process includes identifying desired outcomes, and then it also involves conducting process assessment and gives you the type of questions to ask there. It also involves outcome assessment, it gives you the type of questions to ask there too. And then it involves impact assessment. There you also find the kind of questions to ask in that area. Yeah, so we go to the next slide. And voila. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This brings us to the end of the training. But it's not the end of the training, it's the end of my TED Talk.
Presentation.
I'll say my TED Talk. So now it's time to hear from you. It's time to hear, because I would really want us to talk about this. And I would like you to share with us some of the things we had talked about on that project implementation. Situations where certain organizations did not incorporate that in their plan and they failed. And situations where certain organizations incorporated that and they did very well. And also, I also want us to talk about the evaluation. Have there been moments where an organization did a program and they did not give attention to evaluation? Did it cost them anything? So I would like to hear from us. We have some wonderful people here with us. Please, he that watereth shall be watered. So let us be watered.
Absolutely. So a speaker is willing to hear from you and also share your experiences. So please, if you have something to contribute, kindly raise your hand or put it in the chat. Lillian says, thank you. Truly educative. Thank you for the feedback, Lillian. So do we have questions or contributions? We are at the end of the presentation. So think back to the beginning when we first started the program development class, and please share your experiences on the field running your NGOs. How has it been? And in terms of program development, I've learned so much, Sylvia. Thank you for sharing. Lillian, I absolutely agree. So she says, I think one major organization that doesn't take evaluations seriously is government offices. Okay. I don't know what Chibuzo thinks about that.
Correct, absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Absolutely. I'm also of that train of thought. I don't think they take evaluation seriously, but yeah, let's see what other people think. We're finishing early today, and that means we have some time to stay back in our locations, network with people, talk about your NGOs, look for people that you can collaborate with that are probably in the same sector or the same space as you are, and that can, come up with a program together as a result of this training and as a result of the program development module that we've just used. And so it'd be nice to have all of you come together and work together on a project and share feedback with us, successes and things that you've learned and how you've implemented it in your various NGOs. Okay, Lillian says, I don't run an NGO yet, but I work with an institution and I see this every day. Okay. Thanks for the clarification. Olarinwaju says, I think it's a startup. Okay, I'm not sure what he's referring to. Chibuzo, I'm not sure. Do you know what he's referring to? A startup? So if you want to shed more light on that, that would be great.
Let me look at the
okay.
Startup. I'm not seeing the chat.
Oh, you're not seeing
Okay,
it. Wow.
okay, I'm seeing it. I've seen it. I think it is start off. I don't. Um, okay, I don't know if it's in response to Lillian's
Okay.
comment. I don't run an NGO yet, but I don't know.
Okay.
Or maybe he could be referring to, maybe he has seen startups not take evaluation seriously. So,
okay. All right, that's fine. Okay. Okay, as a startup, I've hardly conducted an evaluation assessment in the outcome of my outcome. Interesting. Okay, so you're a startup and you've not conducted an evaluation assessment yet, meaning that there's still room to conduct one. Okay, so very informative. Sylvia says that NGOs should put in more work towards improving their processes. That's governance. And Regina says, I would really love to hear from Regina. Not all government agencies. I'm a retired permanent secretary in Lagos State. We do that quarterly. Okay, we'd like to hear your perspective on, is that, particular to your own ministry, or do, all Lagos State government ministries do quarterly, or, I don't know, weekly, or it depends. Do they do this assessments? Please let us know. We'd like to really learn from you. If you can share, we'd really love to hear from you too. Matthew says, it's been a great insight. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Lucy says, thank you so much, Mr. Chibuzo. After program evaluation, aside the data to improve on subsequent projects, what else can be done with the data collected? Okay, important question there before we move to Cynthia.
Yes, so what else can be done with the data collected? The person mentioned here on subsequent projects. The data can be used to improve that particular project. For example, now let's say it's a 5-year project, and at the end of the first year, data is being collected and evaluation is done. And in the process, it is identified that a particular area needs to be improved upon. And then the entire thing goes back to the drawing board and is able to develop something. We talked about troubleshooting, because troubleshooting is identifying the root cause of the problem that is affecting the entire program from producing the kind of results that you wanted to produce. And tackling that root cause and ensuring that that particular problem is solved in a way that would allow the program run smoothly. So it is not just for the benefit of subsequent programs. It is also for the benefit of that particular program. It's also for the benefit of that particular program. Yeah. So that's something I want to mention in that regard. It's not just for the next program. It's also for that program, because we mentioned that program development is an ongoing process. And this is essential for sustainability, because if you do not gather that data is for the sustainability of that program, you're not going to be doing that project there forever. It has a time frame, and when it's done, the people is going to be left in the hands of the stakeholders in that community. They need this data to also know how to ensure the sustainability of what has already been done. Yeah. And if there is any other contribution, someone else could also contribute to that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Olaniwaju says again, going through this training has given me more insight to evaluate my project and be able to better be informed on where to improve upon. Thanks for the knowledge and experience shared. Okay, thank you, sir. We're getting praises in the chat, thanking you and appreciating your good work and your time with us this past few sessions. Let's move over to Cynthia. Please, you can unmute yourself and ask your question or share your contribution.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, we can
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Oh, yes, we can. Welcome, ma'am.
Okay. All right. My name is Cynthia from Oka Window, America. But today is sit out, so we don't normally go out on Mondays at the Southeast. So I just from my house. So hello. Okay.
Yeah.
My question is about the M&E plan. I know of M&E plan when you want to start a project, while you're designing your project and the activities, your products and everything you want to do in that project, you now have an M&E plan to track all you have just said to us now, all the processes involved and the rest of them. So the step by step, the steps you will take to ensure that your programs are implemented as you planned it initially. So I want to understand the M&E plan. I want to understand more about. You didn't mention more about it, but I just had a evaluation. I decided to ask if you can talk about M&E plan, what it contains, and at what stage in our project can we really start the M&E plan? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, we got your question.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I think
Hello, sorry, I'm back. I had
Okay.
problems. Yeah, I had problems with my internet. Yes. So I didn't get the last part of the question.
Okay, I said. Hello, Mr. Chibuzo.
Okay, I can hear you
Hello?
now. Yes.
Okay, now I was just talking about the
I can hear
M&E
you.
plan. I said
Yes.
what part of the project project lifetime can we start the M&E plan, and what does it really contain? How can we go about the M&E plan generally?
Okay. Now, when we started this class about 2 weeks ago, we had talked about needs assessment, and then in the process, we talked about the baseline survey. Now, evaluation starts right from the beginning of the program. Like, it's the responsibility of a particular unit. It starts and it's done periodically at the beginning, at the middle, and at the end of the program. And then even sometimes months after the program or a year after the program to look at the impact. Now, the way it's designed is different for different programs. It's different. So if you have done an elaborate course on M&E, thing for every program. But one thing I know for sure for the M&E of any program when you're doing program development is that it must be at the beginning, at the middle, and at the end. So you have your baseline, for example, and your end line survey, which is part of the evaluation. But also at the middle of the program, you are also doing your evaluation. So let me use this example. Some of us have been part of exchange programs or training. You discover something that at the beginning of, okay, let me use myself as an example. When I did the Mandela Washington Fellowship in 2018, I noticed something that before we went for the fellowship, we were filling questionnaires, which the evaluation team at IREX had prepared. Because of course the program is for us, for fellows. We had started filling those details. And then while the fellowship was on and we were in the US undergoing the training, the IREX team were also sending questionnaires. When we came back from the fellowship, we were still filling the questionnaires. So you throughout the duration or timeline of the program, you are collecting data. A team has the responsibility of collecting data to make sure that the program is still on track. And if we are to begin to delve a lot deep into M&E and the process, it's going to take like a full-blown class of its own. So what I would advise is that you could maybe do a personal study or research of M&E and get to find out all the elaborate details, because as delicate as M&E is, it's very detailed, it's very elaborate, the different facets have to be given deeper attention so you know what you're doing. So that is something I will encourage you to do a personal study on to broaden your knowledge and your view. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you very much for sharing. It's okay. So we have some reactions in the chat. I'll just go through them again. Okay. Regina is reacting to a former comment. She says each ministry, department, agencies evaluate their programs monthly in line with either visions and mission. This is then evaluated in line with the budget ministry alongside midterm projections, etc. Quarterly. Okay.
That's
interesting. Thanks for sharing that perspective. It says, as far as my NGO is concerned, the evaluation is done after each program and quarterly. Thank you. Thank you so much, Regina, for sharing. Meduguri, good afternoon, and especially to our speaker. Good afternoon, Chibuzo from Meduguri. We are grateful for the 3 presentations and hope to utilize all the inputs. Amazing. Thank you very much, everyone in Meduguri, and thank you for joining us. Okay. Do we have any more questions or contributions for our speaker before we bring the session to a close today? Okay, seems like we're going to be finishing very, very early.
very early.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So Lillian is saying, again, reacting to the initial conversation on government agencies and ministries not doing evaluation. And she's saying, I'm guessing this is a special government ministry or agency. I work with a federal government institution and recommendations from evaluation is hardly implemented. Okay. But I mean, she's clarified that they do have quarterly or, monthly evaluation. However, implementation is another thing entirely, and I'm not sure about that. I can't speak to that. But yeah, hopefully she can, but if not, well, yeah. But thanks for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, so if we don't have any more questions or contribution, I would like to bring the session to a close. Is that fine with you, Chibuzo?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes, so before we close, those of you who have indicated interest in the book, or maybe you haven't, or you want to, please, my email is still available. I've gotten in touch with some persons. If you are still interested in the book, you could email me, the Sunrise Youth Project. I think I put it in the general chat. The Sunrise Youth Project at gmail.com. Let me put it down.
Okay, I think I put that already. The Sunrise Youth Project at gmail.com. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being consistent. Thank you for being available. And I hope that this session has helped you. Your contributions have also helped me in a way. And I hope to be involved in more programs like this so we can learn and share.
All right. Thank you for our speaker. Can we all please put our hands together one last time for our speaker today? He's been taking all the sessions we've had. Can we appreciate him by putting our hands together? Virtual hands, physical hands, we can see you in your locations. Please put your hands together for our speaker. Let's appreciate him sincerely for taking his time to facilitate the sessions, this past 3 sessions. Okay, some more reactions in the chat. Yes, keep those virtual hands clapping. We can see them. So please keep clapping the virtual hands. Thank you so much, Chibuzo. The email again is the sunriseyouthproject@gmail.com. You can reach out to him to continue the conversation, to ask about the book, to get a copy of the book. Please reach out and keep the conversations going. I'm glad I attended this course. It's something I would like to see happen in my department. Yes, Lillian, we're hoping that you make that change and you bring about, carrying out evaluations in your department. Thanks for sharing. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sylvia. Hands clapping in the chat. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. It's been an exciting time hosting the program development sessions with our wonderful facilitator, Chibuzo. I'd like to thank you so much sincerely. We had a swell time during the book reading that you carried out across the spaces. And of course, we've also had a wonderful time, listening to you, sharing your experience and your knowledge on program development. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes. Regarding certificates, or just quick announcements before we go today. And again, I encourage everyone to please stay behind, network with each other, have conversations, look for an organization with similar interests as yours, and collaborate on the projects, and plan amazing programs, and please share your success stories. Very important that we know how well this program has gone for you in your NGOs and individually. That would really help us. It helps us and keeps us going. And that's the reason why we do the work that we do, to impact people's lives positively, educate, engage, and empower them with information and knowledge. So thank you for joining us at American Spaces. The session continues. As you know, this is rolling till January, when the NGO workshop would come to an end, and of course would start another one. But what is the next session? I'm not exactly sure, but be rest assured that we will communicate the next one we have on Thursday. Hopefully it starts on Thursday. We would communicate the topic in the group chats. So please, if you have not officially registered for this workshop, let me put the link in the chat. Make sure you register, and please, you will get a link to join the WhatsApp group. All the information you need, all the links to watch the recordings of previous classes are, being shared on the WhatsApp group. The link to the slides that presenter has shared will also be shared with you. All useful information, you'll get it on the WhatsApp group. So please, it's important that you register officially for this course and join the WhatsApp group. We have so many people there, and trust me, it's sane, very sane. Nobody's posting things that are unrelated, and it's really well moderated. So please, I encourage you all to join. To our directors, thank you so much for supporting the program. It's a success all because you've opened up your spaces and you've allowed individuals come and participate. It's also important that you please share the attendance sheet. 80% attendance is what we look for people that are coming physically to the various American Spaces locations. So if you have people that have done 80% attendance, please share as quick as you can. Just collate it. We just need the people that have 80%. Send it to us, and we would work on those certificates as soon as possible. But again, let me remind everybody, our certificates are up to date up until the last one, and so this is a new one, and hopefully we'll work on it and get it to you as soon as we can. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been my pleasure hosting the sessions. I look forward to seeing you all again. And please invite people that would find this information very useful. NGO leaders, people working in NGOs, please invite them to this session. Spread the gospel of American Spaces in Nigeria and the good work that we're doing. We have other programs that we run. Conversation with an alum employability webinar every last Monday of the month. Speak with a diplomat is every last Thursday of the month, and we'll have sessions this October. Please join us. It's always a very interesting conversation, and I will be hosting all the sessions we have this October. So please, if you love to see my face, we'd like to see you join us in those sessions and engage with us again. But for now, I would like to say thank you, and we hope to see you all again. Same time on Thursday, it's 11 a.m. for the next wonderful and amazing session. Have mercy on those online. I can't speak to those online joining us, but thank you all so much. I'd like to end the session now. Chibuzo, our sincere appreciation one last time. Thank you so much. And we hope that when next we call you to facilitate sessions with American Spaces, you would gladly respond. Thank you, Chibuzo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you to my directors. Thank you to everyone. And bye for now. Bye, everyone.